Hello, welcome to part nine of Paint Along with Rob, um, and me and Malcolm once again getting very close to completion of this here fella from 3D Gizmo, and I think we're starting to run out of bits to paint because we're getting that close to the end. So we're going to deal with the things that are staring us in the face, and that is the binoculars and the gloves. If you remember, the way I've approached this and painting from the inside out is also painting from the accessibility aspect as well. So I wanted to get all the cabling done and the gun done before doing the gloves and the binoculars.
Okay.
And so the first thing we're going to try and do is binoculars, and those quite tricky things to do. They consist, I mean, we haven't got a lot of access to them, so there's bits of it we're not going to be able to paint very well, but we just need to give it some indication of it being what would we say? It's going to be, you've got some optics, which I did an experiment thinking, how will we paint the actual glass in them? And I said, I might do that on the fly kind of thing. We're not going to see a lot of those at the bottom anyway. I don't have any binoculars. Actually, I might have some binoculars in the house somewhere, but I've got camera lenses, which if they're not on the camera you can see all the way through them, much like a single bino bit, and held it to see what you would see reflecting through, and you basically just see what's underneath you because it's got light going through, and it would be the tank underneath. So we're not going to be able to do any super bright clever reflections and things because it's looking through, so it's just going to imply that it's something glossy. Plus we're going to have to do something to make it look different to the other bits of gloss, because it's a very boring thing. It's black glossy material, shiny material with some grips which are mostly covered by his hands, but which would be not shiny material because they are designed to be so he's not going to drop it kind of thing. They're going to be a bit matter, and but you can't even see most of that. So one little thing before even going into that is going to be painting things with a very much like the handheld or the microphone. So it's going to have and you can even see what I'm doing here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit there. You can see even the nature of the primer and the light above gives me some reflection. So I was just going to illustrate something.
Is it worth not painting it?
You could not paint it. You could even give it a little bit of gloss if you didn't want to paint it the way I'm going to paint it. So you could not paint. You could just not paint it. I'm going to try and do something to give it the impression it has been painted, but I was just going to give a little illustration of different surfaces we have. So I've got two brushes here. One is clearly glossy and the other isn't. They're both black, and you can see that the matte surface of the Chimera brush and the glossy surface create very different reflections from the light above me. So the glossy brush has a very focused reflection, and the matte finish has a much more, almost a grayer look overall to the paintbrush, and a softer graduation between the highlight and the shadow. So basically the intention will be to try on the glossy bits there to do little sharp highlights just at the front, and then or maybe a couple, as if there's different light sources from side or from above, but just to give the impression that it's a kind of a glossier material. And then if you could see the if we could get to actually paint the matter surface of the grips of the binoculars, they would be painted with a softer, even a slightly different grey colour. So they wouldn't, they'd be wider in terms of.
So that's called a specular highlight. That white,
yes,
reflection on there.
Yeah,
and it just gives you an idea of what the surface is made of. You know how wide that highlight is. Yeah.
So, and we've got to make it look slightly different to some of the other bits we've already done with. So this is going to be, and using. My intention is to use quite a bluey colour for this, because what reflection there will be for us will be in what's the word I'm looking for? It will be it's lit great now. The sky will be our primary light source above us. We'd assume he's in a blue sky or even a slightly grey sky.
But he's in the UK then, is he?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got colours we've used before, but I'm going to use more of the grey blue and lead grey, and there will be some black involved, and we'll probably end up going to this off-white. Actually, no, we're going to use white grey.
We were joking the other day about you painting a Sherman tank in the reflections of the optics, not the reflections, but what it can see. Painting the texture of the Sherman tank in its 10 holes.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Well, it all depends on where you're looking at those lenses, doesn't it? Whether you can see through them.
Yes. Yes. And it'd be quite if he had them held up to his eyes, and we were going to try and paint eyes.
Great big ones.
Yeah. That'd be in a very cartoon, Bugs Bunny way.
Oh, that would be quite fun.
Yeah, in the same way, doing little black, little black. Blimey, my brain's all over the place today. Little black rings around his eyes because his team put some charcoal around the end of his binos.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm initially just going to do this. I've just got some pure black, and I'm just going to paint the whole thing pure black.
So you're painting it pure black so that you know as a base color, you know what the color is, and what's the idea of doing that?
I want to, because at the moment it's all just still simply I haven't put any paint on it other than the primer, which has got a bit of a glossy look to it naturally. So I want to give it some of this pure black, because that will hopefully dry matter, and in order to, I guess, to get away with some of these lighting effects, we need it to be matte in order to get away with being to sell the idea, I guess. No, I'm just not really going to be able to get the paintbrush in underneath there. I can paint it, but I'm not going to try and.
It's going to be in shadow, isn't it?
It's going to be in shadow, and I just want to get paint on it just to say it's a horrible angle. Because we're still going to be painting. We're still got to paint the gloves as well, which will be another story in itself.
Would you have considered putting a necklace loop on him so that he could be holding the binoculars and let go of them
That is something actually I've forgotten about, and I had considered that maybe towards the end of this, I've done my rifle straps and things on 35th scale figures.
Yeah, I know. My old man used to have a pair of binoculars like that, and
Yeah.
he would have gone
And I could
insane if I used them without putting the
yeah,
extra.
no, I absolutely agree, and it would be quite something just to demonstrate what we could do is just to use some billy putt, and I can kind of illustrate how I might do that myself, which means we might lose that thing around his neck because that might get covered up. But it would be a little finishing thing we could maybe do.
Yeah, maybe.
Right, so that's my black. I've got my blue grey, which is the most important one, I think. So I'm just going to kind of do this straight. I'm not going to add. I'm thinning this. This is the lead grey, which is it's got a bit of a blue tinge to it anyway. And what I'm going to do. Let's just see. This looks. I'm just going to do. The important thing to do that I'm thinking when I do this is this has to be, you have to duplicate it on both bits exactly the same because they're both catching the light in the same place. You can see what I've done there. And I'm going to do the same across the top there and there. Pull that back slightly.
The brush is looking
Gone a bit knackered
older.
again, isn't it? It's going to be all right. We'll get it through to the end. We'll nurse it through.
So, which parts are the sort of the tighter gloss then, the glossier?
Well, at the moment, I'm going to basically the intention is to end up with just a very thin spot of the lightest colour. So at the moment, you can see that's got a bit of colour, but it's quite wide at the moment. I could probably actually want to avoid when you do something like this. It's quite tempting to go kind of overdo. We still need most of it to be black. So next thing I'm going to do now is add a little bit of the grey blue.
So are you trying to make it look like the more matte paintbrush that you had?
No, this is hopefully going to be a little bit more like the Series 7.
Oh, okay.
So
High gloss.
this will hopefully, yeah, because I will come back with the black again eventually and just take off the edges of that. You'll see, hopefully. So now I'm going to do this just in the middle and maybe around the top. I'm trying to keep these quite narrow in their location. I'm trying to get in the middle there without getting too much paint on the gloves. But then it doesn't matter because I'm going to come back and do the gloves. I want just a straight line across the top. And ideally, yeah, paint can be pretty thin for this, I think. So this is, like I say again, this is a mix of, as you can see, just taking paint load off on my thumb and on that paper. But you'll also see that there are, in the sculpt on the binoculars, there's different layers to the bits that go to his eyes, then that portion, and there's even a little bit towards the bottom, and you can put a little thin.
Mm-hmm.
Can we see that? Yeah, you see it. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is going to end up being blended down a little bit, and I'm also putting these highlights towards the top of.
And you're putting a bit of texture in there too.
That's an accidental texture of just nervous brushwork, to be fair.
Oh, right. Okay.
And when I come round this way, I'm just going to... Right, what I'm going to do is put some at the top there. And then some on the inside of the bottom. Because you've got light coming from top down. Because there's a slight angle.
Mm-hmm.
Now I am going to get some almost pure blue grey, because that was a little bit of a mix, but mostly blue grey. Thin that down even more. And I'm going to try and put this right in the centre of what I've done already. And there is a little dial thing in the inside here, which I'm just going to put a bit.
Is there no silver on these things at all? They're all completely gloss black.
The example I've looked at was all completely gloss black.
Mm-hmm. Apart from the grips, yeah.
Yeah, which were kind of a matte effect.
Oh.
And now I'm going to add a little bit of the, what am I using in white grey, and add that into my blue grey. This will be the lightest I go at this point in time. I'm going to thin that a little bit more. What you'll notice is, even with brushing this, the state it's getting into, I can still do quite, fine lines. So I can, in theory, get a high gloss, bright reflection in the middle. Now, having done all that, I'm now going to go back to my black, thin it down, and remembering on how we've where you apply paint to leave more. I'm going to paint from the center of these grey blue reflections and paint towards, away from. So this is a glaze that I'm painting
Got you.
Downwards. So it's covering everything to a degree, but where my brush lifts from the binoculars, it's leaving it on the black. So we're kind of toning down what I've done, and I'm just doing it on one side down at the moment and softening it. Might take a second or two to dry. And do it on that side as well.
And I guess you could keep on doing that process, couldn't you, until you've got it where you want it to be?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, turn it around this way and come on out and do it downwards on the other side. You could glaze over the whole thing to tone it down and go back with your lighter colours. If you don't, you can, if you feel you've overdone the lighter bits, you're just using such thin paint here. Now, if you rewind this video now, folks, which I can't do, and when I was first talking about this and where these reflections were from the glossier paintbrush, from the glossier primer, you'll see that these lighting, or the light bits, pretty much coincide with where the actual light from my overhead light was catching. So I've just made them again with the logic and theory that what you want to do when we're doing this is whatever lighting environment somebody is looking at this in, they will see that kind of reflection effect. Whether they're looking at it in your kitchen or in a lounge, or if you're not under your glorious desk lamp.
Yeah.
That's the way I do it. You want it to, it might not be 100% obvious because the light you're looking at might be some weird old tungsten thing or whatever it might be, but at least it's telling you something. Or hope so. That's maybe still a little bit too much. I might end up going, and again, this is one of those things you could put a little bit more of a black just to kind of accentuate that darker portion between these bulging eye bits, and trying to separate those portions out a little bit more. So and so I'm going to just go back now, and what I'm going to do here is hopefully go back to one of my lightest colours but even thinner, and try and just get this right in the centre. Maybe a little bit too much I did. Too thin, that nothing was going to be seen at all.
It'd be interesting to see the colour of the highlight as well, compared at the beginning of the show compared to now, because you put blue in it, and I'm assuming there's no blue from your light unless it's like a daylight bulb, maybe.
No, I mean, in theory, this is a good colour corrected light. I'm using, if anyone would like to go and see, it's a red grass desk lamp. You can see that I've put by going in. You can see. Okay, let's see if we have. I put a couple of little dots, or not dots, but at the top and there, you can just see, compared to where they're not on the other side, and that's just given a little bit more brightness. Ooh, that's a bit too much, that one. But not necessarily a bad thing. But yeah, you can
And is that just to differentiate between the two of them, or to what's the idea of doing them differently?
Well, no, it was just to illustrate that when you do one and not the other, that you can see the differences. So now I'm trying to do them both with like I said earlier, duplicating exactly the same reflections, because they're both getting caught by exactly the same sky. So you can see there now they've got some little more focused spots of highlight. I'm going to try and do the same, just in a couple of points.
Just quickly, that red glass lamp, is it the R9, the Kickstarter?
No.
Okay.
It's the original one. Well, there was is it the R9? I can't remember what this one is. There's a small one that's it's the second one that got done recently. But yes, it might be the R9. It's got a double head thing. It's really nice. But yeah, there's a portable one that just in the process of shipping out. Right. So here we go. And so let me just see what I can do with. Let me just think about this. Just grab everything quickly. And we'll do some. Do with that, right? Yeah, just for the sake of doing something at this point in time, I'm just going to plonk some. In this case, it's dark Prussian blue, but it's a blue, a much more blue. I'm just going to do a little bit on the lenses.
As a reflection, or as
I'm just going to do them kind of. Pardon me. By making them blue, I guess I'm going to pretend that they are lenses. I guess it's not going to try telling you anything. They're so small that they just need to look like a different material, a glass-like material. And if they're a bit blue, it could be the reflection of the sky above. But because they're glass, a little bit more blue than the gloss black. So,
well, are you going to go for the typical Games Workshop style of doing a lens? They're kind of
with well, yeah, there'll be an element of that in it, hopefully.
Yeah. Or a potion. I've seen people paint potions before that's on belts and things, and those look amazing.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm going to do the bottoms as well, and this is just a basic beginning, a bit basic to start off with.
That's a lovely blue.
It is, and it's come out quite nice.
But those lenses been tinted?
Probably. Right, like that. So, and actually, it's one of those things. There's no blue on him up till now, is there? So that blue looks quite good against. But even though I'm going to do bits to the blue.
Well, he's going to have blue in the patch, isn't he?
Yes, there will be some blue in the patch. I'm dreading the patch.
You'll be fine. Well, it's not like we're recording it.
No, I'll get away with it.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
We can always rewind it.
Yeah, just keep doing it until you get it right.
Yeah. Yeah, because actually the patch hasn't got any embossing on it at all. Sometimes you find that sometimes people try and do a semi-raised thing for something like that. Right.
Would it be worth considering a decal at that size?
I believe they exist. You could, if you were gonna do several of them, because the thing is that with decals, they are really good, and I've used them. I've got them in for 1/35 scale armored division patches by Archer. and they are very good. However, if you're going to do one trigger, they can be, you can spend a lot of money on them. Just to use one, unless you're going to do lots of these guys. Right, I've just used some very thin, black paint to try and pin wash it into, to leave, to get it into the rims, so that the lens itself is going to be the brightest part in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got to wait for that to dry. I did that on the bottom. I'm not going to worry too much about doing any reflection down there, because when anyone's looking at him, unless you tip him up, you're not going to see those. So it's only those bits. And unlike, I will do some kind of gem reflectivity, just a single.
I guess no one's going to see it at the bottom. You could practice, couldn't you, on those?
You could. Let's see. I think traditionally people do it's kind of a reverse logic with gems. They usually do a bright bit at the bottom.
That's right. Gems is not like lenses, but they're similar.
Yeah, it'd be the same. I mean, if you were doing, you could be doing, Space Marine, it would be a lens in in his eyes or something. With a magician, it would be probably gemstones in the fantasy world. Yeah, Age of Sigmar would be gemstones probably, or potions. And 40k would be yeah, 40k would be lenses. So what I've done there is just added a bit of lighter grey colours and put it a little bit at the bottom there. Just in a kind of a semicircle, or even a crescent shape, I should probably say. Yeah, crescent shape is probably better. And that can be quite tricky to do, and it's going to be very tricky to do.
And that light was at the bottom of that lens as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe the same on... Oh, right, okay. It's the same on here as well.
Now, again, it's a case of trying to duplicate almost.
Hold your breath, Rob.
Yeah. Identical reflections on each one.
Guess it's just like doing eyes, I suppose, huh?
Yeah.
Well, again, I guess you can still put a pin wash around the outside, to clean up the edges so you can get it more accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, again, all these techniques and all these methods are things that you can just repeat, repeat and go back over with a bit of the original blue. If you go too far with putting these highlights in, or you overkill it, just you can see how light that is actually. too much. Too runny. So yeah, that's. And,
Amazing how much that your water has gone blue now. It's such a strong.
yeah. Yeah. Right, I'm going to add a little bit more of the white grey, was it? Yeah, white grey. So this will be my final catch light, as it were. And will be the smallest and will be the most focused, hopefully. So yeah, it could be better. Right, so I'm now going to go back with my thinned black and try and do a pin wash around the edge, because I got a little bit of a, in the left-hand lens here, a little bit of the lighter colour ending up behaving like a pin wash and flooding the lower edge, which isn't a bad look, but I don't want it. So it's gonna...
So is your desk lamp a single lamp or is it a double one?
We've got two adjustable heads, effectively, or is it?
Oh.
Yeah, there's two strips coming out with.
Gotcha. So the Kickstarter one is the smaller one then, I guess.
That's the current one. Yeah, the current one is it's going to be delivered soon, because I'm getting that one as well.
Oh.
Yeah, well, I've got to my left of me here, I've got an LED light, but I want to replace that with the portable one that in theory can then be portable. But so I'll have the main one above me, which is the original red grass lamp, and then the smaller one will be a fill-in lamp on the left. Because I'm left-handed, I don't need a bright lamp over to the left here, but it needs to be, because that will just cast me a shadow when I'm painting. So the main lamp I've got is from above. But yeah, I quite like them. Obviously, I'm getting the second one. But most lamps are decent. There's nothing wrong with nearly every lamp out there.
It's not a cheap lamp, is it? The red grass brand.
No. And like I say, I think when I got mine, or I got the original one, it was on the original Kickstarter. I think it's about 100 quid more than when I originally got it. The whole one of the benefits of Kickstarters, if you get the right one and you get them at the right time, you can get a decent introductory price.
Let
me just see about that. I'm going to take my blue again, and I'm going to try and do just a little bit. I kind of feel like it needs. It's almost too simple at the moment, so I want to make it complicated. just before we break, because it will be the finish of the binoculars. What I'm going to try and do, if I can, I need to get my paint consistency just right, otherwise I'm going to flood it. I want to try and do another light, but not such a bright one, on the upper edge. So let me just try. So where I've got that bright bit there, I want to try and do a. Ooh, that is a bit brighter, but I want to do it in the opposite side, but not quite so much. So I see. All I know, when I'm painting it like this, I might have covered his face in blue paint.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know about you, but I'm tense.
Yeah. Hence the silence.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like what do they call it? When you listen to some talk radio shows, if they're silent on there for a certain length of time, they have an emergency thing kick in. So there's a little bit more of a brighter bit at the top, but I overdid it on that one.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to use the old black, just I'll do, I guess.
You could always go back and fill it in, couldn't you, around the outside until you're happy?
It is one of those things that you can do a little dot here. You can go and back with the black. You can add another little dot. But let me just hang on. Ooh. All right. Yeah, you can see that's not brilliant, but it's kind of attempting to make it. There's a little bit of a catch light at the top, so there's a double bit going on in there, which just makes it a little bit more interesting. And you can see the distinct blue colour compared to the it's bluer but still grey, brighter reflection of the glossy bits, which I could go back again and do more black on top. But you can see, that's quite.
Yeah, looking at it as well, but there's more black rings that you could accentuate as well if you wanted to.
Oh yeah,
I'm
definitely.
looking at it. Yeah.
And then when I turn it this way again, ideally, I should really I could probably do that very quickly now, just to illustrate. And
zoom out again for us.
Well, I'm going to go just to show you. We've got those little.
Oh, the little rivets.
Rivets.
Yeah.
Rivet. In fact, you could probably end up doing a couple of little other highlights in there as well. But all these little details keep popping up, which I'll probably so. And this one, there's bits and pieces which I can go and refine a little bit more, but there's a lot going on, and hopefully his face is still good.
So in an ideal world, then, if you were able to remove those binoculars and mount them, I guess it would be much easier too, because you're not trying to attack them from a certain angle.
So you do get very used to working out the best ways to come in, the comfortable ways to hold him to get in. My forearms are against the table here. That's quite. I'm banging my arm. That's quite stable, and then the forearm of this hand, and you don't see things like this. So my way I'm holding that, I'm holding my finger against my hand there in order to stop my. So this is just a couple of little bits. I think that's something we probably don't talk about enough, is how we hold the miniatures when we're painting it. So I'm creating little tripods and little stable platforms with my hand, uh, every time I'm getting this, so that's not this isn't moving. This isn't moving, so this is the only motion bit, and then I can get that way, whatever way it's going to be. So there are things to consider as well when I'm doing these little detail bits and pieces.
So your elbows are on the desk right now, are they?
My forearms are, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So my if my elbows are up, my arms would be up like that, but it's my forearms keeping it at this height. And I wouldn't want. This is why you don't want to be doing it for too long as well, because that would get uncomfortable. You could put padding on the front of your desk as well. Could make that a lot more comfortable. But
yes, you can get these keyboard rests that work quite well nicely.
I think I might do that one day.
Or a gun rest bag as well.
Yeah.
Perfect shape for each elbow.
lots of options. Okay, doke.
Cool. Right, we'll be back in in seconds.
Yes. Bye. See you. Right. Hello again. And this time we are going to do gloves. Now, I have over the last few days, on and off, done a little bit of investigation. There's quite a lot of gloves that are available to the US soldier. There doesn't seem to be anything specific for armoured crew. There were big, heavy work gloves, big leather work gloves. There were padded mittens. There were leather armed canvas or wool mittens and gloves and things like that. Now, I was toying with how I could paint them. But one thing about these gloves, or what's on this guy, is on the back of his hand are the three little lines on the back there. You can just see in catching the light there and there. And that kind of narrows these down a little bit to being the only thing I can work them out to be is gloves, horsehide, riding, unlined, which were actually quite a yellow colour glove that were issued quite commonly to airborne troops, but there's no reason they couldn't end up being in the hands of a tank crew guy. And I know that I've seen people paint gloves on tank crew in that colour. So what I've got here, I'm not going to make them go too yellow, although they can be very yellow in colour. I've got the brown black, which we've used before. I've got some Morphin brown, which is just a brown, but not a red brown as such. It's just a mid brown, and ochre, which is like yellow ochre. You could use a sand colour, but it's kind of just move that up there. So what I'm just going to very quickly do is with the black brown, which is what I've been. You can see that the gloves on the figure already got a coat, which I've done several times over the course of this. That's going to be my base color, effectively, or my I've painted just going over bits where the bluey greys of the goggles, of the binoculars, leaked onto his fingers. So it's just a dark brown, and you can see that they are noticeably brown compared to the black of the goggles. But now I'm going to paint the main part of the hand, so of the gloves, which that's gone too far. I'm going to take the brown and the ochre initially, so I don't want it as ochre-y. I'll probably add some more brown to it, but and when I was working out how to paint this, I was also thinking It's a shame he's got gloves on because I quite like painting hands because hands can be quite interesting and details like fingernails. So it might be interesting to get a subject that isn't gloved next time. So so yeah, I'm going to start off. Again, you can see almost the light I'm painting under gives you some indications of where we want to put some of these.
It's stitching as well, isn't it? It's like 3 lines of stitching on the outside.
Yeah, it's those 3 lines of stitching that kind of narrow this down to being this type of glove. And I guess they would be quite practical for a tank crewman. So yeah, I'm just going to basically...
I think these gloves are going to really change this figure now. Really going to change it to how it looks.
Yes, because they kind of and doing them this color as well, I think will give them quite a distinctive look. You'll suddenly see that it's almost like his hands have been disappearing into the background up till now. So I'm going to try and get just do a nice base coat as best I can, and you can see the stitching towards the side. So the sculpting puts quite a lot of detail into these gloves. Kind of like detail that we'll probably just have to try and make because you can see there's a seam. They put a seam down the side there where the paint is actually stopping going because the angle I was painting at, it was a ridge.
Sorry. That's part of the glove though, right? That's where the...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's part of the stitching of the glove. But some of the things I was saying about painting fingers with fingernails and things like that, some of the elements will still be true for painting this here. And it's because it's a yellowy colour, I'm going to do at least a couple of coats to get this going. Again, you've got some nice access issues under at this lower angle here.
So it's just the base coat for now?
Yeah, so this is one of those that, I didn't want to do it too thick. Now, the idea is that this is going to end up being noticeably, I want this to be noticeably yellower than the colour of the jacket. We want it to be a distinctly different material. We still remind myself next time I want to go back and do a bit more on those cuffs. I think that was something that I just put a base coat in or an initial colour in just to check to see what it looked like at the time. So there's still some work to do there. Now, this is horrible because to get on the inside of the thumb.
We were talking about paintbrushes that had that kind of bent ferrule.
Yeah.
Maybe this is why.
Yeah.
It's not for sign writing or lettering or anything like that. It's just to get round corners.
Get round corners, yeah. You can see there that. What? Hang on. No. That's not good.
Yellow's not quite similar. It's on the same sort of range as that jacket, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hmm. But I guess it will be highlighted as well with it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
more.
I mean, this is still trying to get. I mean, it's still quite glossy because it's going to matte down a bit more. But it is, and we're going to have. Yeah, we're going to be big shadows. Right. Yeah, and this is one of those things where I can't get in there. See that? That's an angle and a half.
So you've got a camera in your face, and you've got to try and do angle, and you've got to try and talk.
Yeah. All the time thinking, do I like that colour after all?
All right. Now thinking like next series, how are we going to make this more difficult?
So yeah, that's one hand. What I might do is just the one hand.
What is it about the colour you're not liking?
I don't know. I don't actually. Putting that paint on now makes his hand look a bit odd shaped when I think about it. It's almost like because it was not noticeable before. Yeah, it's all right. Everything. It's just slightly weird.
I think it's because it's not catching. You're not seeing the highlights on the black one. You're seeing the highlights with the knuckles.
Yeah. It's a bit monotone at the moment, isn't it? So
yeah. Well, maybe use the other glove then. I mean, however you want to do it, but just suggesting perhaps use the other glove's highlights to match the other one before you paint it.
And sure.
That makes sense.
Yep. I'm gonna just want to put some darker zone in it. So I've got some of the black brown I've added to that base colour, and I'm going to just thinking about the angles and things again. This front edge down here is all going to be in the shadow, so this will hopefully start toning it down a bit. Really going texture or anything. I'm just trying to put some paint in between his fingers. This is I probably don't want to say too much about the sculpt, but when I look at it, I might just describe these things as slightly sausage-like. And I say that as somebody who's tried sculpting hands. Hands, you can see they are distinct. Line, you got angles, and even if the gloves are quite padded, they do just kind of bend like a sausage, as opposed to, I mean, maybe the fingers at the tip there have got a bit of more of an angle, but that bit there is just rounded, which arguably it could be the nature of the glove, but it does also make it a little bit, might be what makes them look a little bit odd around the edges, kind of thing, to me. So I'm going to carry on doing this. I'm just
that's something that you could add with color, right? And highlight.
It's not easy. It's not easy, but it's not. We might be able to do some. We can certainly, probably hint at it with some highlights. Less so with shadow, I think. Might be trickier with shadow. The other thing I'm going to do here is just, even though a darker shadow will go in the fingers there, I'm going to do a little bit of a lighter shadow just beyond that, in that area, which would effectively be where the knuckles are.
Okay. Yeah.
So it'll just extend it slightly. I'm also going to do the back of the hand with a bit more so that I can end up picking out the stitching with a lighter tone as well. And
you put shadows on the knuckle area too?
no, I'm going to try and do those with a bit more of a highlight, which I'm going to a degree, I'm probably doing a bit. This is going to be sketching to see how it looks at this point in time. So, and my highlight is only at this point going to be more ochre. I did have a couple of colours potentially to add to as a highlight, but I'm not sure whether I'll just use the ochre as the highlight. So if you think of, like I say, I've got 3 components to my finger, and so if I was doing a hand, or I would be doing these highlights to try and pick out those 3 portions. So I'll do that bit.
I guess if they were mittens, then you wouldn't be too worried about the knuckles so much, would you? Because I guess they just get lost.
Yeah.
In the padding.
I'll put some just at the end there. I'm going to do a bit in the middle. And then third portion. I'm going to do just a little bit more on between those bits where I put. I'm going to do between those just some little portions as if they were knuckles there, as if those bits have bent in protracted use. That'll dry down in a little bit, and then I can also do the same on the thumb.
Yeah, it's all looking like they've got fingers in there now.
A little bit more.
You could also, I don't know how realistic it would be, but you could dirty up and scuff up the knuckles as well, couldn't you? I don't know if there's something that would happen.
One of the, because these are horsehair or horsehide. What I've just done there, I'm trying to just put thin lines on those stitching on the back of the hand as a highlight, but just to actually define the stitching as opposed to anything else. And I've lost my depth of field there, to be honest with you.
And you do that with just a single line, or do you do like a dark line as well? It's just a light line.
I've done it with just a light line because underneath is the darker.
Oh, and the shadow.
Darker bit of shadow, effectively. So, but yeah, I could probably do even darker bits around. Yeah, I was going to say is that looking at some examples of these gloves, where they get the wear and tear is actually because they start off yellow, and they'll get their wear and tear on the palm of the hand, but we can't see the palm of the hand. Yeah, that can affect and make those kind of worn effects. But there are things you can muck around with. I mean, find examples and try to replicate what you see effectively on within the realms of what you've got in front of you. Because I mean, the figure is effectively the canvas, and we can only do what the canvas permits us to do. we can't. It's hard. You can add details, like had the idea of adding, the stitching and things in there. What I'm going to do now is just.
You put wrinkles in it or something, couldn't you? As well in the leather.
Yeah. Right. I'm now going to do with some thin, darkest black brown. I'm going to do just lines right to separate out his fingers a little bit more. And also go just on the underside, going into the portion, into the bit that goes round to the a few more dark wrinkles under there. Now, I'm going to pause there and say, Malcolm, can you pause this a sec, please?
Mm-hmm.
And I could basically now just keep going with this. When I look at it, it's kind of got that yellow look, yellow orange look. Could it be a bit more orange? I guess it could even be a bit more orange, but it does have. I can keep adding more of it. Ochre, just to
quite yellowy, I suppose, aren't they? And where they've worn away, just looking at pictures, where they've worn away, they've kind of gone grey. When they've gone down to the, the leather is worn down, the outside glossier surface. They've kind of gone like a grey, and I guess that's probably all the muck and everything worked into the more rough surface underneath.
Yeah, and I think there is, some of them are quite orange as well, or some portions have got a little bit more orange in them.
Yeah, well, it depends what colour the animal was, I suppose, where it cut from.
Yeah.
And they were horse, did you say?
Horse hide are the ones I've got in my Militaria book.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to I've got some orange brown here, just because I kind of want to just I think it is one of those aesthetic things. I could find a picture of these gloves and they could be exactly this colour, but against the colour of the jacket, they are just a little bit too close, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got some of this orange brown. Maybe because I need to put these in the shadows more than anywhere. It's the shadows that look a little bit that feel like they need a little bit more of this oranginess. So I'm kind of glazing.
Do you think they need to be a bit more richer?
Yeah. I think I overcompensated being cautious a little bit. It's a funny old world when you're kind of trying to work out how best to do these things.
The ones I'm looking at are kind of mustardy.
Yeah.
I'd say.
When this orange is working, giving it a little bit more of a different tonal character to it, a bit more, I think.
And also the ones that I'm looking at on here, those fingers are just flat pieces of fabric, pieces of leather.
Yeah.
And I think the problem with those gloves is they're exactly the same on both sides.
Yeah.
That doesn't help, does it?
No. A little fractionally different colour now, but they're still a little bit. Yeah, We just try and get a bit of the. Oh, I need more of a brown.
Just change the jacket colour. That's it.
Yeah, let's do the whole blooming jacket thing. I think that.
Yeah, looking at it from this angle where it's not in the light, they do look very similar colours.
Oh dear, that's it. Look at that.
Wow.
Welcome to the biggest disaster I've had on the set. Hurrah, hurrah.
Have you been wiping your nibs?
No.
Ah.
No, and I was just kind of one. There we go. Cut that out. I got some brown paint on there. Then that's there we go. I remember the nib conversation now.
Yeah,
about it.
I've been doing it. I have been doing it, and I've been kind of disgusted actually by the state of some of my bottle nibs, and then thinking like, no wonder they are clogging up.
Yeah.
Clean your nibs, people.
His nibs.
Yeah.
Oh. So yes, that's dear me. Obviously, that took me by a bit of surprise, and
As it shook you.
and I'm now going through that shock. Shock is setting in as I kind of now trying to ad-lib being confident in my painting. So yeah, in those sort of what I'm going to do with this, what I've done, I've got that orange brown, I've mixed it with my waffen brown, and I've got a thin kind of glaze, and I think that's just going to. Although I didn't want a red brown, it going orangey in places is not a bad thing, because some of these examples I've got quite some orange tones to them as well.
Yeah, and I think that's going to step it out from the tank, the jacket, isn't it?
Yeah. And the great thing about these is those little highlights I did for the stitching on the back of the glove. Mm-hmm. Because this is a glaze, they are still there. That's not wasted work.
Mm.
And even those highlights and things I did, all of those bits that kind of, that's actually acting and interesting.
Yeah, so you're differentiating between the different parts of the glove as well, aren't you? There.
Yeah, it's got some nice little tonal changes and things. Happy accident. That's a happy accident, that is. But yeah, I quite like the way. So yeah, folks, if you think that if the colour you've got, because we are, for this one, it was like, I know what the glove looks like. I'm looking at my paint collection going, it could be this, I'm going to have this, and this. And then you put it on and you go, I'm not sure. You don't necessarily, you don't have to follow a set list of paints. You can tweak and adjust things as you go, and you can end up with some quite nice little effects as a result.
What we were talking about earlier about with the binoculars, with the gloss, and the difference in glosses. Could you, because the colours are similar, could you make the gloves shinier and then the opposite to what the coat is, because the jacket's quite dull in terms of reflections? If you highlight those gloves much stronger.
Yeah, but then with these gloves, is that the gloves are, by their very nature, they're a skin, the hide, which has got quite a matte finish to it. If you think like what do we call it? The dusters you wipe a car window with. What were they called?
Oh, chamois.
Chamois. It's kind of got that chamois. I kind of imagine this as a bit of a chamois texture to it, which is quite matte. As far as leather goes, it's a different. It's not. It's yeah, it's a matte finish to it.
But I guess it's not suede, though, is it? It's not completely devoid of any reflection.
No, yeah, but you could, but I think what is actually needed, the more I look at it, is I'm going to go back into this black brown, and I need to separate the cuff from the glove a bit more, I think.
Were they always this color, or would they have been green or black?
Well, like I say, I think there are this particular type of glove with these 3 stitches along the back were this color. They are, you would often see them, and even paler in color, stuffed in US Paras would have had them. I mean, they were originally riding gloves, and like I say, they were issued to US paratroopers. And in this case, because I can't find any other type of US glove that has those stitching on them, although there were green ones, brown ones, dark brown leather. I think that's you do have those options, and you could paint them a darker or redder leather. You could paint them a very similar color to the you could paint them a very similar color to the holster, but
would they have gone underneath that cuff as well? So do they have like it's not called a gauntlet, but do they have like a wrist guard as well?
There's a tightening strap,
right?
But they don't go much further than what we see here, really. In fact, maybe even. You see that? You got the cuff there. You got the shadow, or a highlight there. That might be that wrist stripe bit. I don't know.
I'm with him. Yeah. Okay. Could have done them in black or grey, as if he'd picked them up from an enemy German tank commander. But then if they were black, they'd be the same colour as the binoculars.
Yeah.
Same conversation.
But I think, a very useful thing is to get your separating them with some, when you separate them with some darker paint, they become, you can see they are a separate entity. I guess is probably a good way of describing it.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, I think that mustardy, orangey kind of colour added to them is going to certainly help in those shadows.
Yeah, I think so. I think they were, and then separating the fingers.
And I guess you could play with the thickness of those shadows, couldn't you? On the other hand, to break it up a bit. If you wanted to.
In this area underneath that is pretty much in maximum shadow.
Yeah.
I'm not going to worry too much about the detail and stuff in that.
He says as he's doing the detail on the glove.
Yeah. So I think they're okay. That's okay. That's quite like the orangey part on the back. Might add a bit more of that. The thing is can I, because it's a happy accident, can I reproduce it on the other glove? That's the question.
Well, you've still got the colours there, right?
Yeah. Well, it's covered in in Waffen brown. The original colour's under there somewhere.
Well, maybe someone's trying to tell you something. You just sent it in brown.
Yeah. We're good. We're good.
So as we're coming up to the final turning for this episode, what's next? What's next week?
I think we have to deal with the rank, and I think it's going to be rank, and we will have a go at that armor division patch. We have to decide what we could probably try doing a little bit more to the cuffs, collar and cuffs, and then there's this belt thing that I think is a belt thing.
Oh yeah, I was gonna have a look at that, but I don't think I got round to looking to see what it was. Did you have any further?
No, I think it's a belt. I'm not sure exactly what. I can just about see the closure underneath the straps there, but it's right at the bottom, and I'll just use it to hint at
Yes.
it'll be a khaki colour, because I did a little bit of green on the underneath the overalls that he's wearing underneath.
Oh, okay. So is the belt going underneath the overalls on each side?
Here, no,
Yeah.
I think that's supposed to be part of the belt.
So what's the little step then?
I don't know. Because that step goes round and then join. Yeah, that's the belt. So it's more of what's this bit at the back there with its single little circular thing. I don't know. I mean, he might be wearing a one-piece overall underneath all that, but it's hard to tell. So yeah, it'd be a bit of interpretation. It's right at low down at the back, so it's not critical to get it right. But I think what I've ended up doing here, and it's like I say, it's a happy accident because I didn't like the colour originally, is by using this orange glaze and just kind of almost dabbing it on in places gives a lovely little bit of interesting variation in this leather glove. I quite like it. So, and it's probably more easier to see. Hopefully, I actually haven't put up. I have been taking pictures after each session with my posh camera, but I haven't put them up anyway yet. So it's it will be you'll see those bits and details I've done a bit stronger in those photographs than you would do on the camera, because it's a bit of a better camera. I'm just gonna, with this slightly lighter colour, try and pick up some of that stitch, because there's a nice stitch on the inside of his hand there.
Yeah, looking at references now, those gloves do look very similar in colour to the jacket in a lot of these photographs, even though when you look at the gloves separately, they look mustardy colour. But once they're next to the jacket, they seem to have the same sort of colour.
Yeah, it's a funny one as well, because I mean, I probably put a bit more shadow on the lower side of his glove. Well, I quite like it in some ways, but it does make him look like he's got jaundiced hands to a degree. But it is noticeably different there now to his. Noticeably different to his jacket.
Definitely.
But I think that's decent enough.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. So we've done binoculars and gloves.
Yeah, and I will go and do the other glove off camera at a later time. But
and you're happy with your lenses? Are you going to do anything else to them?
I don't think so. I think that's just enough without being. I don't want to do bright blue. Strictly speaking, they would be picking up a tank turret underneath, but they could also be catching, depending on they could be catching the light from the sky above. That kind of nice. Just enough there that I haven't done too much to those ones underneath. But it's kind of broadcasting their lenses as opposed to trying to be clever and reflect something else. But
Okay.
Yeah, that's all right.
Brilliant, mate.
Now I'm going to clean up that. Thank you.
Messy boy.
Yes.
All right. See you later.
Okay. Take care, everyone. Thanks for watching.